My husband always took solo trips to clear his head. I trusted him. Until one weekend, I opened his laptop and found a folder labeled Special Moments. It wasn't of us. I waited 6 months. I acted normal, saved money, got a lawyer. Then, on our anniversary dinner in front of his family, I gifted him a photo album full of screenshots. He said, "This is a joke, right?" I said, "No. But our marriage was." His mother burst into tears. His brother said, "You're dead to me." I paid the bill, then left with the waiter's number in my purse. I don't even know how to start this without feeling like an idiot. I was married to Mark for 12 years. 12 years. I gave him the best years of my life, and he gave me nothing but lies. We lived in Asheville, North Carolina. We had a nice home, no kids, just 2 dogs. We were that couple that everyone thought had it all together. I was a dental hygienist, he worked in tech. He made more money than me, but I never cared about that. What I cared about was loyalty, respect, honesty. And he threw all that out for some side piece he met during one of his solo trips. Let me back up. Mark had this habit of taking solo trips every couple of months. He said it was for his mental health, that he needed time to clear his head, hike alone, disconnect from work, whatever. I respected it. I thought it was healthy. I never questioned it. He always came back refreshed, and I never saw any red flags. I trusted him. Fully. Completely. Until one weekend, he left his laptop on the kitchen table. Open. He never did that. He was out grocery shopping. I was looking for a recipe I'd saved in our shared folder, and while I was scrolling through his desktop, I saw a folder that I had never noticed before. It was called Special Moments. At first, I smiled. I thought it was something cute. Maybe photos of us that he'd collected. Maybe something he was going to use for our next anniversary. I opened it, and my stomach dropped. It wasn't us. Not even close. The first photo was of him at a cabin I'd never seen, holding a wine glass, laughing with some woman in a red dress. A dress I'd never worn. A face I didn't recognize. There were dozens of photos. Her on a balcony. Her on a hike with him. Her in a damn hot tub, with her legs wrapped around him. Videos, too. One of him cooking her breakfast. Another of her in bed, giggling, calling him baby. I didn't cry. Not at first. I just sat there, numb. My hands were shaking, but my mind was running like a machine. I screenshotted everything. Every file, every photo, every video, every date. Then I backed it up onto a USB drive and emailed it to myself. I closed the folder and walked away like nothing happened. When he came home, I was calm. I helped him unpack groceries. I asked how the store was. I kissed his cheek. I waited 6 months. 6 long months. I kept smiling. I kept sleeping with him. I kept going to work, cooking dinner, playing the perfect wife. But every night, after he went to bed, I was planning. I started stashing cash. I got a second bank account. I met with a divorce lawyer in secret. I even found the woman. Her name was Janelle. She lived in Richmond, Virginia. She was 31. Single. No idea he was married. She thought he was a freelance travel writer who lived in D.C. I contacted her through a burner email and sent her everything. She was disgusted. She thanked me. Said she was done with him. I said, good. Because I'm not. I waited until our 12th wedding anniversary. I made a dinner reservation at his favorite steakhouse. Invited his entire family, his parents, his younger brother Paul, and Paul's wife. I told everyone it was going to be a surprise celebration. He walked in beaming. He thought he'd hit the jackpot. I wore a blue dress he liked. I even bought him a new watch as a decoy gift.
We made small talk. Laughed.
Took photos. After the main course, I stood up and said, I have a gift for Mark. I handed him a wrapped photo album. He opened it with a smile. The smile disappeared after the second page. By page 10, his face was ghost white. By page 15, his hands were trembling. His mother gasped. Paul asked, what the hell is this? Mark said, This is a joke, right? I looked him straight in the eyes and said, No, but our marriage was. His mother burst into tears. His dad didn't say a word. Paul stood up and said, You're dead to me. Mark looked at me like he didn't know who I was. I calmly placed a business card on the table, my lawyer's, and said, I filed. The papers are on their way. Happy anniversary. Then I pulled $100 bill from my purse, placed it on the table, and walked out. The waiter, a sweet guy named Chris, followed me outside and asked if I was okay. I smiled and said, Not yet, but I will be. Then I asked for his number, and I walked away. Still married for now, but not for long, and not broken. Not anymore. After that dinner, everything changed. Mark tried to call me the next morning. I didn't answer. He left 3 voicemails. First one was angry. Second one was pleading. The third one, he was crying. Too late. He showed up at the house 2 days later. I was staying with my friend Renee by then, just until the paperwork went through. Renee was the only one who knew the full story. She helped me get everything in order, even took photos of all the assets in the house for the lawyer. Anyway, Mark showed up, banging on the door like a maniac. I wasn't even there, but Renee recorded everything. He yelled, We can fix this. You don't just destroy a marriage over a mistake. A mistake? One mistake?
No.
It was 6 years of lies. 6 years of trips. 6 years of another life. The worst part? He told Renee she wasn't supposed to find out. I was careful. That sentence stuck with me. Not, I'm sorry. Not, I made a terrible choice. But she wasn't supposed to find out. It wasn't guilt. It was panic. He didn't regret the affair. He regretted getting caught. The divorce moved fast. My lawyer was a beast. We had everything. Proof of infidelity, timelines, finances, even proof he used joint money to pay for some of those solo trips. That meant I had leverage. Serious leverage. Mark begged to settle quietly. He didn't want to go into court. I agreed if he gave me the house and half his savings. I thought he'd fight. He didn't. I think he was scared I'd send that photo album to his boss. He signed. But here's where things got messy. About a month later, I started getting emails. At first, just weird spam. Then photos. Private photos. The ones I sent Mark years ago. He was leaking them. Not publicly, but sending them from fake accounts. Trying to scare me. Trying to shame me. I went straight to the lawyer. Then the police. They traced the IP. It was him. I filed for a restraining order. He was served at work. In front of his manager. That was the second time his mother called me crying. She said, I raised him better than this. I don't know who he is anymore. I said, Neither do I. Then I blocked her. I wasn't playing the good girl anymore. That version of me died the day I opened that folder. And as for Chris, the waiter, we talked. A few times. Grabbed coffee. He was kind, sweet, respectful. But I told him straight up, I'm not ready for anything real. I'm rebuilding. He understood. Said, I'll be around. No pressure. It felt good to be honest.
To feel seen.
Not lied to. I moved back into the house. Alone.
Painted the bedroom.
Changed the locks. Tossed the mattress. And every night I sleep easy. Because I didn't just walk away. I made sure he'd never forget the day he lost everything. About 2 months after the restraining order, I thought things had finally quieted down. I was wrong. One Tuesday morning, I came home from a run and saw a car parked across the street. Same car, same spot 3 days in a row. Tinted windows. No plates. My gut told me it wasn't random. I called the police, filed a report. They said they'd keep an eye out.
Typical.
That night, Chris came by to drop off a book I'd loaned him. He saw the car too. Took one look and said, That's not normal. He got the partial VIN from the windshield and ran it through a friend of his who worked at a garage. It was registered to a private security firm based in Charlotte. I knew Mark didn't have that kind of pull. But then I remembered his boss. The same boss I threatened to expose him to. Mark must have lied. Played the victim. Made it seem like I was dangerous. Unstable. I contacted my lawyer again. We started documenting everything. The car. The times. Even a note I found in my mailbox that just said, "You should have kept your mouth shut." No envelope. No name. Just those words. Then one night, someone broke into the garage. Didn't steal anything. Just left the door wide open. That was the final straw. I filed for a temporary relocation order through the court, citing harassment and fear for my safety. It was approved. I moved out of Asheville for a while. Stayed at my cousin's place in Savannah. Kept working remotely. Mark? He didn't stop. He started showing up at Renee's job. Not saying anything. Just standing across the parking lot watching her. She called the police 3 times. They told her unless he made contact, there wasn't much they could do. So, I changed tactics. I contacted Janelle again, the woman he had the affair with. I told her everything. The stalking. The threats. The photos. The break-in. Turns out, she wasn't entirely done with him. He'd reached out to her, told her I was unstable and vindictive. But this time, she didn't believe him. She agreed to help. We built a timeline together. Emails. Messages. Voice recordings. I gave it all to my lawyer. She handed it off to a private investigator. And what we found next changed everything. Mark wasn't just seeing Janelle. There were others.
4.
Maybe 5. Some of them from years back. One of them? She was underage when they met. Not by much, but enough. And he had videos. Screenshots. Some on old hard drives. Some on cloud storage. It wasn't just cheating anymore. It was criminal. We turned everything over to the DA. And now Mark's not just facing divorce. He's facing charges. The arrest happened on a Friday. I got the call from the district attorney just before noon. They had enough to bring him in possession of explicit content, harassment, and a handful of charges tied to cyberstalking and privacy violations. Mark was at work when it happened. They walked him out in cuffs. In front of his team. His boss. His new girlfriend. Yeah, he'd found another one. Another lie he built up just in time to watch it burn. When the news broke, it spread fast. Local news ran a short segment. Nothing national, but in a town like Asheville, word gets around.
People talked.
His mother? She didn't call me this time. She sent a letter. Handwritten. 3 pages of sorrow and shame. She said she didn't know the man she raised. Said she was going no contact with him. Paul, his brother, reached out too. He said, "I owe you an apology. I should have seen it years ago." I didn't reply. I was done with that family. The court process dragged for months. He tried everything. Claimed the videos were consensual. Claimed I forged emails. Even tried blaming Janelle, saying she had a vendetta. But the evidence was airtight. My lawyer made sure of it. The PI dug deep. Janelle testified. 2 other women came forward. One was a former intern from his company. She said he pressured her into things. Said he promised her promotions. It was ugly. And it was public. I had to testify too. I talked about the folder. The photo album. The stalking. The photos he leaked. Every moment I stayed quiet while he cheated. Every night I laid next to a man who lived a double life. The judge didn't hold back. Mark got 3 years. Not a slap on the wrist. Not just probation. 3 actual years behind bars. He cried when they took him away. I watched it all from the front row. But even after all that, I wasn't proud of what I felt. Because it wasn't just victory. It was grief.
For the years I lost.
The woman I used to be. I made mistakes too. I ignored little things. Trusted too easily. Gave too much without asking for anything in return. That ends now. A week after the sentencing, I stood in the empty living room of what used to be our house. Mine now. The walls were bare. The furniture was new. The old mattress, the wedding photos, the dishes he liked, all gone. I lit a small fire in the fireplace. Took the last remaining piece of our past, the anniversary card he gave me on our 5th year, and tossed it in. Watched it curl, blacken, and disappear. Then my phone buzzed. It was Chris, the waiter. "You still up for that drink?" I smiled. "Yeah," I texted back. "I think I am."